Hi there, I'm ex-All Black Rico Gear, and I wanted to call this show Top Gear for obvious reasons. But that name was taken, so welcome to the Ruck. Okay, this player has played 22 tests for New Zealand, 79 Super Rugby games for the Auckland Blues, and also represented North Harbour and New Zealand Maori. He's the most sent-off player in New Zealand history and still holds the title for the biggest melon in New Zealand rugby. His head's so big it needs its own postcode. Please welcome my good mate, Troy Vandem Flavell.
Hey Rex, how are you, mate?
Good, my bro. Good. Awesome to have you with us. Okay, bro. Hey, let's talk about that loss against Argentina.
Well, mate, it was a neutral ground for both teams, right? So, mate, I think they just out-passioned us. You know, killed us with passion. I thought Pablo, the captain, was outstanding. He sort of led from the front and just took charge. You know, a few of our guys got sort of caught into the niggle. A lot of ill discipline, which, you know, with a guy like Sanchez on the boot, mate, he'll kill you.
Yeah, no, exactly right, bro. That's exactly what we saw. I think we probably just got bossed, you know, around physically up front. And I guess it was a little bit reminiscent of the English game at the semi-final, you know, at the World Cup, you know, last year, where we sort of weren't really able to respond. And I think we kind of got sucked into that physicality contest, and the boys were pretty ill-disciplined, weren't they, giving away a few penalties?
Yeah, that's right. At Ruck time, you know, if you guys were getting caught out, you know, Sam Kane was there quite often by himself, and yeah, like you say, mate, like they caught us out, and one area that they sort of targeted, from what I could see, was that rush defence. You know, that rush defence, getting up in our faces, putting pressure on, you know, our standoffs, and making them make decisions quickly. Which, as we know, the All Blacks normally have got a lot of time on their hands, and yeah, and that works for us in the past. Quick phase ball, you know, Smitty's there in the boot, can offload it really quick, and it's all front foot type stuff. But the shoe was on the other foot, you know, wasn't it? And we just got caught out. The turning thing is we were unable to adapt. So if we're in that situation again, which we have in the past, and we haven't adapted well in the past as well. So I think for Fozzie and Stormy and those guys in the coaching staff, they need to be addressing that. And okay, what do we do when we get into this situation? What's our plan B? Because to me, it looks like there is no plan B.
No, exactly right, bro. I think adaption's probably the word. So Fozzie, if you're listening, mate, you need to adapt. But you know, that comes back to I look at the game managers of the team, bro, and you know, the All Blacks sort of prepared a certain way, you know, for that game, and they would have had a game plan that they thought was right from a coaching point of view. And I think you've got to have the ability on field as the game managers, usually it's your captain, your 9s and your 10s, to be able to say, hang on a minute, these guys are physically dominating us. We're not making any inroads. Okay, this is what we're going to do. So like you were saying, you know, that plan B, it's a concern that's not really there, you know, for us, and it hasn't been there. I guess, you know, we'll look back at that semi-final. And going back to the ill-disciplined, you know, we saw a few Tana Umanga handbag slaps, you know, around the face, particularly from Colsey. We know he likes to play on the edge, a little bit like yourself back in the day. It reminded me of the big Troy Flavell throwing his weight around the field. But, you know, Colsey probably, you know, I think he realised he kind of stuffed up a few times, which is, you know, in hindsight, it's disappointing.
Yeah, mate, it's just little small nippy stuff. You know, obviously there's no malice in what they're doing, really. You know, it's all sort of handbag stuff, like you mentioned, and but it's costly. It is costly when you got someone like Sanchez there. Man, that guy can slot them from anywhere, and he's proved that. You know, and passion-wise, these guys just came in, mate. They haven't had no trainings together, nothing, and they brought this squad together and all died for the cause. So.
Yeah, I mean, what I'm really looking forward to is I'd love to see Ian Foster cry one day when he gives the pre-match, the after-game speech. You know, I think that's something a lot of New Zealanders would like to see is, you know, we don't have that, do we, to the extent that the South Americans do. And, you know, it was really refreshing to see how much they actually care about what they do and not afraid to express that. You know, it was fantastic to see from their supporters also.
Yeah, 100%, mate. And that's what that nation does, mate. And they do it really well. You know, you got the likes of them, Italy, France, you know, all those sides that show so much passion, and their supporters are passionate. And yeah, we saw it with their coach at the end of the game, you know, and it'd be nice to see a little bit of that vulnerability out of our coaching crew, you know.
No, absolutely right. And you know, speaking of coaching crew, do you think Ian Foster's the right man? I know there are a lot of question marks, you know, over him prior to getting the role. I guess people hadn't seen a lot of success from him previously. You know, he has been with the All Blacks for a long time, so I guess he knows the ins and outs of what it takes to be successful. And maybe we're not quite sure about you know, him as a coach just yet.
Yeah, tough one. Yeah, like you say, he has been in the environment for a long time now. You know, he knows the landscape, but you know, it's like players going into a coaching role. They can be the greatest players, but you know, not necessarily going to be the greatest coach. And that's same from an assistant coach going into a head coach role. It's completely different. You know, you got to have a full over look. I don't know the word, but
Yeah.
just be able to control people management, you know, who's doing what and when, and managing those guys on and off the field. So,
and the other thing we might be overlooking a little bit is, you know, the reality is maybe this All Black side isn't as strong as the past, and you know, it's something we're sort of looking to get back to, because I suppose we had that great run between, you know, 2010 through to 2018. You know, 2 World Cups in that time, a lot of success. And then the wheels sort of started falling off a little bit before the World Cup. You know, we lost to Australia in Perth. We failed at the World Cup. You know, maybe we're just in that bubble. And I think back to the late 90s when I think someone mentioned it, Tane Randall's side, they lost 5 games in a row. You know, so maybe we're being a little bit hard on this group of All Blacks because we've been so successful, you know, over that sort of 8-9 year period.
yeah, mate, and it's hard. It's hard as a supporter, and it's hard as a player not to think along those lines. You know, we have had a lot of success, you know, and the expectations are there. So there's a lot of pressure on these guys, you know, and you know, for the majority of it, they handle it well, extremely well. You know, there's a lot of pressure on Fozzie and his crew right now, but what we have shown in the past is resilience. So. We'll be back.
Yeah, 100%. And, you know, if we do look at that coaching group as a whole, you know, they're very good coaches. So, you know, there's no doubt they're good enough, you know, to do the job. And I'm sure they'll be working back towards that. And speaking of, you know, doing a good job, Hoskins Satutu coming off the bench in that last 20, apparently his statistics said that he got the most running meters of any forward, and he only played the last 20 minutes. So, you know, what an athlete, and it might be time just to actually just get him in there and let him be our number 8. You know, Artie, as fantastic as he is, probably not naturally a number 8. So maybe we're moving back to the flank, but, you know, Hoskin, there's a lot of potential there.
Yeah, I agree. I think they're playing Artie out of position. You know, he's had some great games with the number 8 jersey on, but Hoskins is a through and through number 8, and you know, I like to make you know, compare him to Jerome a little bit. You know, Jerome kind of, like, you know, when he first came onto the scene in the All Black jersey, he was a little bit underrated. You know, just needed time in the boot, mate. Just time in the jersey. Spend a bit of time with him, give him the minutes, and mate, look what he did.
Yeah, exactly right. You know, Jerome, yeah, what a legend. A good friend of ours. And Hoskin is certainly in that similar mould and with a big future. What most people probably don't know about Hoskin is that he was actually a winger only 3 years ago. So, you know, he's gone from a wing to a number 8. He's still learning, but he's only going to get better, isn't he? So, you know, something exciting for us to keep an eye on. So, in terms of the RGs, they're playing the Wallabies this weekend. How do you think the Wallabies will approach Argentina?
Oh, mate, I think this need to be ruthless with their tactics, like set phase play. The RGs showed that they've got a really good scrum and a really good liner. So I think Aussie, like anything, mate, it starts with set piece. You know, if you get the set piece right, and start building some phases, try and out-phase them. Start building those phases and just be clinical.
Yeah, exactly right. And I think, you know, you look at the strength of their line out. And I remember when we used to play something that Graham Henry was very astute to is, if we played South Africa, if they have a strong line out, well, here's a simple thing we can do is let's not give them any line outs. So, maybe Fozzie, will take that in next time, we play against Argentina. So, bro, going back to you, well, you've had a very, successful playing career. You've been suspended a lot in your time, purely because you like to play the game on the edge, which is, why you're my favourite All Black for all the wrong reasons. But what's the longest suspension you've ever had, and what was it for?
Start of 2003 Super Rugby. I think it was Super 12 back then even. And in a ruck situation, high maul, couldn't see, but could feel somebody trying to pull me down. Started stomping just to get them off my feet. And unfortunately, I struck a guy's head, a guy, Greg Smith. And he got badly cut up and I got suspended for 10 weeks.
You're a bloody monster.
I am a monster.
I remember that well. And that was a hard one, wasn't it, bro? You can't really see what's going on in those malls, but probably deserving, to be fair.
Oh, yeah, but it gave me time to work. That was peak summer, so, I went down the beach and made the most of that.
2003, what a great year. We won the Super Rugby title that year, and they still haven't won it since. So, I think we need to start having a reunion, to be honest, and let's celebrate that success, I think.
Yeah, definitely. There's been a little bit of talk about it, but proof's in the pudding,
Sort of a wasted, I think we
I think the COVID buggers off, you can come home, mate.
Yeah, well, 100%. I'd really like that. But, looking at what's been happening, mate, the last, I guess, 10 weeks for you, you've been involved in a show back home called Match Fit. It's aired on Television 3 weekly, produced by our very good friend, Mr. Bailey Mackey. Tell us a little bit about that journey, what it was all about, and how that game went on the end of it.
Yeah, mate, it was a great ride. The journey itself, obviously the ultimate goal was to get 10 ex-All Blacks fit from whatever condition they were in and play a game at the end of it. But we played the game a couple of weeks ago and we managed to win that. But the journey itself from start to finish was, just getting us prepared for that game was, sort of the most pleasing for us, really. We had guys who were extremely overweight, who came along on this journey with us, and some of them lost 10 to 13 kilos over the 8 weeks that we were together. Some guys, who are similar age of me, early 40s, they had a metabolic age of 58. They managed to reduce that over the 8 weeks and got down to 41. It was Ron Cribb in particular. Charlie Rockerman, Ronnie Clark, all 10 plus kilos they lost over that period. And, it's been great, mate. Like the vulnerability that we've let it all out on live telly. We've got stripped down to our undies. Guys have shown their body, the rotational device, and just really let it all out and just being completely open. And I think it's paid dividends. We've had amazing ratings, from the show. But more importantly, we've had guys messaging us, and there's talk out there. Guys are, getting off their asses, getting off the couch, and decided to start making some changes in their lives, and it's been really, that part in particular has been really rewarding for me.
Yeah, and it was great to see, that vulnerability and that huge awareness around mental health and, coming from guys, former All Blacks, that it was sort of laying it all out there. I think it was really, refreshing for the audience to see, and a great inspiration to a lot of people that were watching that. And speaking of inspiration, you mentioned Ronnie Clark, so Caleb Clark, the All Black, his father, who was also an All Black, looking rather large these days, but naturally with those Samoan genes. But it looked like he still had a few nice touches when he had a run.
Yeah, he did. He started off as Ronnie Clark, but he actually ended the show as Caleb Clark's dad. He, you know, like Caleb's obviously had some, you know, on-field success with the All Blacks and made his debut, and what a debut it was. And yeah, but Ronnie, mate, he's just been absolutely buzzing. Like we were hooked up through a thread on Messenger and that, and he's just he's continued. Like he's training hard. We were hooked up to heart rate monitors. We can see everyone's heart rate monitors, so we can actually see who's doing what on a daily basis. And I tell you what, Ronnie Clark hasn't stopped, mate.
Yeah, no, what an absolute legend. You know, and certainly looking forward to you know, Caleb, you know, progressing more with the All Blacks, and hopefully he gets another opportunity, which I'm sure he will. You know, against Argentina next weekend. But hey, bro, thanks heaps for all your time. All the best with, you know, with the future, and looking forward to see you on Match Fit Round 2.
Thanks, brother.
Too much Flavs. Thanks, brother. Thanks for watching, listening, and smelling this episode of The Ruck. For more tasty episodes, go to 11sports.net and check out the sports section on network11.tv. It's a better way to watch TV. See you next week.